Hello, Targar friends. Hey, everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and once again, it's time for another Orc Mode workout. Today was Dynamic Effort Lower Day, and a quick reminder for those of you who watch these videos, please click like down below. Also, if you could do that on my other videos, it would be greatly appreciated. Actually, I would love for you guys to give as much engagement as possible to that earlier video I did so that it gets in the algorithm. Comment, click like, whatever you need to do, engage it, so that we can get that unpleasantry out of the way, because now that I'm putting another video up, I have a feeling people coming to the channel are going to miss that one. There's still going to be an influx of a bunch of angry, upset people. I banned a lot of them this morning. Over, again, some nonsense up in Canada that literally has nothing to do with me. Nothing at all, but that's neither here nor there. I went ahead and had a great workout today in spite of that. And I'm doing some client stuff later. Busy, busy, busy. Who can't let stuff like that get you down? It happens to me all the time, by the way, things like that. I'm kind of used to it. But what do we do today? 12-inch box, which if you guys notice the stance I'm using, this is well below parallel. So because I use that just outside shoulder width stance now for box work, even the 12-inch box is a deep box. Deep box. Probably 2 to 3 inches below parallel for me. And you can see my hip down at the bottom when I get to the bottom, just behind the rail. It's deep. I'm doing 241 on the safety bar plus 100 pounds of band. And again, this is speed, compensatory acceleration. Right? Compensatory acceleration. So we're trying to be as explosive as possible. Now, people do notice, they're like, is there a little bit of rocking? Well, there tends to be a little rocking on speed work no matter what we do. The idea is that we're trying to feel zero when we do it. But the thing is, we're trying to keep the bar midfoot. Yes, I'm aware there's always a hair of slack when I use a safety bar. I don't have enough holes at the bottom to get it correct. It ends up being way too tight or just a hair loose to where there's actually 0 pounds at the bottom. That disappears when I use a different bar, just because of the camber on the safety bar. But I'm just going to live with it. I'm going to work with it. It's fine. So we ended up doing 10 doubles with these today. And overall happy with them. Speed was decent, especially as I got further in. It takes me a few sets before the speed really picks up. But again, it's not as fast as sometimes when I do chain work and stuff. And it's because bands decelerate you a little different. That's the idea. They slow you towards the lockout so that you can continue to push as hard as possible while you're decelerating. Okay, it changes your strength curve. So there's a reason we like bands for speed work, plus the overspeed eccentric. But again, 10 doubles on these today, which is, not the most I might do, but because I'm doing slightly more volumes on the pulling, we're reeling it in. Plus I'm cutting, so I do need to be careful of overall volume, overall axial loading, because my volume is still pretty high. It's pretty high when I'm cutting. And I'm not going to get into all that. A lot of people ask why. I'm not going to answer that. If you guys watch all my previous videos, you will understand in which cases some individuals will do that. Right? It's not for everyone. A lot of people need to reduce volume quite a bit. I just have to pay attention to it closely. Got to pay attention closely because I'm actually running very large deficits, and then I do a diet break. On my deload weeks, I actually take them as like a 5-day cheat day. I come off my diet, and so I run a bigger deficit in between my deloads. Right? Because I always gain weight during that, but it helps me recover, bounce back, train with the volumes I'm doing. Some people might say, well, is that counterproductive? Well, I've lost 20 pounds. I've done 2 of those since starting, and I'm down 20 pounds. I'm going to drop another 21. It's kind of the goal. And then we're going to assess. So it's going to be a 40 to 41 pound cut by the time I'm done. So I like those periodic breaks. It keeps me sane. Well, as sane as possible for me. Right? I don't really know if that's a good thing or not. So back over to the training. 10 doubles. And honestly, they weren't that exhausting. I'm running these with short breaks. A lot of people ask, how long are your breaks? On non-speed work, I take super long breaks. I take as long as I feel like. 3 minutes, 12 minutes. I don't know. I don't care. This stuff is short breaks. For speed squats, speed bench, I do 1 minute. Speed pulls, I do 30 seconds in between, because we're not taking these to fatigue. None of these sets are fatiguing. They're just explosive. Right? Because these are weights I could do 10 reps with easily. right? Easily. So it's not the point. Again, it's explosiveness. We're training for power. We're training for the setup, practicing racking, unracking, getting into position, and then explosiveness. So we're still hitting upper threshold fibers on every rep. Speed pulls, I did something a little different today. Looking at those last couple deadlifts, I need more speed off the floor. It's where I'm weak. So for speed pulls, I did straight weight today so that we're still heaviest at the bottom, right? Pulling off 2-inch blocks. If you're weak off the floor, what is the thing that most elite coaches will tell you? Pull off of blocks, right? No, it's not pull off deficits. In fact, Tom Martin and I had a good chat about that the other day, who is a record-holding deadlifter, really awesome guy. I've known him for quite a few years, actually. Dude, originally when I used to train in the UK and lived there for a few years before I came back to Texas. And we had a conversation about that, and he's tried to tell people, he's like, look, the best way to get fast off the floor is block pulls. And he's always preached that. And he's got some stupidly strong deadlifters at his gym that he coaches. In addition to the fact himself, he's like a 900-pound deadlifter himself. You know, and then he says for lockouts, deficits. And he's not the only coach saying that. There are a ton of elite coaches who say that. And it makes sense when you understand the principles. So for me today, I decided to do some speed pulls off of blocks. Again, helps you develop that force production further off the floor, right? Where we tend to stick. Because we start sticking, when we stick off if you just miss a weight on the floor, what happens? You just were not strong enough to deadlift it. When we stick a few inches off the floor, we stick below the knee, okay? Technically, we need to correct that. There's certain tightness and joint angle specificities we need to get around. We need to get better at producing force through there. And so starting from that position will do. A lot of guys do pause deadlifts for that, and that's one way. But if we're doing speed pulls, that's not going to work. So for the speed pulls, pulling off blocks will help with that. And I could always add chains to these and do these with chains too, right? Because again, we'll have to continue through with the acceleration because of the chains. But I thought just doing a few of these sets raw would be good. So it's just 405 for 6 doubles for speed. Then came over to Good Mornings. I was able to do these today. By the way, that adductor pull felt slightly tender, but none of it got aggravated today. It wasn't a super bad pull. It's just, again, the nature of those Romanian deadlifts from max effort day. I went back up to higher reps with these. Went back to weight I've been using in reps. So again, most of my accessory work today, you know, I had a rep or two in reserve. None of this stuff was taken all out. Just good challenging work sets, you know, based upon what I know my strength is at. So again, I've been able to get 12 reps with this weight before. So 3 by 10, good effective reps, especially after speed work like that, because you never know how my hamstrings are going to feel after speed pulls, depending upon which version I do. So again, happy with these. And lifts like this that I've built a very, very, very large base on, like Good Mornings, I don't expect to get much stronger while I'm cutting. I'll see if I can here and there. It's going to be the more novel lifts that I'm able to push some progression on that maybe have some muscle memory and things, some novel training responses again, right? That's where my gains are going to happen if I'm going to gain anything while cutting. But lifts like this, I need to maintain that strength on them. I need to maintain that strength in the muscle mass associated with these lifts. So again, went back to 10s on these today instead of the 6s. And again, happy with them. They felt good. You know, none of these sets were to failure, but they were a couple reps away. You know, again, I could have done 12 reps. And I might work the weight back up a little bit on these and see if we can get another 10 pounds on the bar and still do 10s with it, right? See if I can push anything a little harder. But I didn't need to do that today. I just wanted to get some quality, effective reps in today on everything. And yes, we did 2 types of isolateral leg movements today. Again, I need those quads. Something I've realized. Where do I really need to put a lot of focus right now as I'm cutting and where my weak points really are? Delts, triceps. Triceps are the biggest one on the upper body I'm worried about. I mean, I still care about upper back and lats and all that. I want guys to think we don't care about it. But it's going to be triceps and delts. Lower body, I need to push the quads back up, right? Since I've been cutting, I feel like I've lost quad mass. I need to push hard to regain it. And if anything, that'll help me burn through more calories when I'm doing my cardio, right? Bigger quads, more energy used on the cardio. These felt good today. I need to up the weight again, right? Same weight I used last time. Now on the left side, each time I manage to keep my balance pretty good. I'm learning how to get into the positions to where I can just make it smooth and continuous. The right side, I tend to start losing my balance today, and I had trouble with it a couple times. And that's okay. And again, it's about just getting my feet in the right positions. And again, people forget sometimes that I have a medical issue regarding balance. I function very well with it. I don't consider myself to be disabled from it or anything, but I do have to be aware of it because again, I have long-term damage to my vestibular labyrinths. They pretty much don't work, and that's confirmed with MRIs, the scar tissue, and everything. So I do have to be aware of that. So again, I don't have what people would think of as a normal sense of balance. I have to use my eyes. And if I see something moving wrong, well, I better grab something. So I stopped on 6s on all these today, not due to lack of strength. I could have got more reps, I felt like, but because it's too hard to maintain my balance more than 6 reps. So we just need to increase tension and to get more weight on the bar. So next time we'll bump it up another 5 pounds and keep pushing progressive overload here. I'm going to keep pushing it. Keep getting stronger at these. Because again, my quads, they get lit up. Like my quads after this training session, while I'm sitting here recording, my quads are still throbbing. They feel like they got beat with hammers a little bit. And that's good, especially on a speed day, because usually we don't feel as beat up on those. So the supplemental work really did a lot for the quads. And again, doing 2 movements. I think it's because I pushed the weight up heavier on the step ups today. Now that I did them last workout just to get back in the groove, now we're going to go harder on them. Also, I decided to do my GHRs banded. This first set looks terrible. I'm really struggling with that range of motion at first. There we go. Then we start getting that hamstring deeper. Again, it's that reluctance. I stopped at 10s on these. I felt like I could have got 12s against the band. Stopped at 10. Because again, what I do not want to do with something like this, I tend to get hamstring cramps really easily from the weighted glute ham raises. So I thought with the bands was that possible stretch reflex from the contraction. I need to be careful to not push these out too hard. So I stopped at 10s, and it took me a bit to kind of really find the best setup and position for the band. I haven't done them with bands in a long time. So again, why the band? The potential pulling up at the top. Normally we get really unloaded near the top and all the stretches at the bottom. By adding a band, we're adding tension up near the top again, up near peak contraction of the hamstring, so that we're actually working all the way through the rep, right? And yeah, these are not the most comfortable thing in the world to do, particularly with bands. Anyone who's done them understands. So again, I didn't want to take any sets all the way to the edge because again, the cramping. But again, they're still challenging sets. We got good work sets in. And that's what I wanted. And again, a little bit of a novel training response. I haven't done these with bands in well over a year. I'm sure it's been over a year. And so I thought it would be a nice change just to hit those hamstrings from a little different angle. Again, spur a little bit of novel training response, which can be a benefit, especially when I'm trying to cut. I can get some novel response in there to try to get some hypertrophy. But again, I didn't want to neglect hamstrings, right? I didn't want to neglect them. Because especially they didn't get hit as hard on Monday because of that adductor cramp. I wanted to make sure my hamstrings are getting a lot of work on this day. Because I'm only doing one real big hip hinge movement, standing one, right? Because I'm not doing RDLs and good mornings, I'm just doing the good mornings. The extra hamstring work is warranted. Then we did the step ups. Bumped the weight 30 pounds and stopped with 10s. The 10s were hard with this weight today. And I did 2 sets of 10 because that was enough. My quads were lit between the speed squats, the Romanian deadlifts, and then throwing these in. Again, the 2 sets was just enough to finish them off at a different angle. And again, making sure my quads and adductors and glutes and everything are getting another angle in to again carry over to my squatting, right? Need to make sure that squat starts coming back up. I feel like squatting has gotten weaker while I've been cutting. It's hard to tell because of the deep boxes I've been using. I feel it has, and I feel like the quads are becoming a weak link for me, which is rare. But I need to bring them up, hammer those quads, get them bigger again. Again, it'll help me with energy turnover, help me keep my squat on point, which we need to do. Like, I know for a fact I can't squat 600 right now. You guys have seen me do 600 plus 3 times on the cambered bar this year earlier. And I think one of them or 2 of them might have even been in December. So I feel like I couldn't do that right now. So I need to get those quads back up. And so I'm going to do these smaller movements that are easier to recover from, but that still hammer all the muscles. Because what moves the squat? Glutes, adductors, quads, right? That's your primary movers. That's where all your power comes from. Everything else is a stabilizer. We're not saying the stabilizers don't matter, but the stabilizers do not move weight. This is where the work needs to be right now. So again, lower body, I'm going to put a lot more work into my quads and adductors. Upper body going to be delts and triceps. And again, when I say that, it doesn't mean we don't train the other stuff. My God, my glutes get more training than just about anything. But it's because all the movements I do use the glutes. A lot of them use the glutes really hard. And I have strong glutes. But again, they'll get stronger from just all the quad and adductor work and hamstring work I do. And yeah, the glutes will carry over to my deadlift, right? Carry over to the deadlift. That's why I'm also doing that little bit of extra hamstring work, just to make sure the deadlift comes along, even though I feel like right now my back is more of a limit on deadlift. And I mean more of like middle back. And then we finish off, last but not least, reverse hypers. Sorry, I'm yawning here, guys. Reverse hypers, which are a mainstay for me. I do these year round. I get as many of my clients to buy a reverse hyper as possible. I've had a few who've had access in their gyms. They're lucky to have gyms with a reverse hyper. And I've seen that actually in 3 different countries. So before people say, oh, that's only in America. Nope. I've actually had it in Canada and Thailand for clients. Yep. So it's not just America. A lot of UK gyms have them too. A lot of guys say, oh, my gym doesn't. Well, there are strength gyms all over the UK. Quit going to Fitness for Less. Right? Quit going to a box gym. If you live in a city in the UK, I promise you there's a strength gym in your city. I promise you there's 3 strength gyms in your city. Okay? If you live in London, there's probably 57. So you can't use that excuse you can't find one. It's not even that big of a country. There's probably 100 strength gyms and it's a small country. It's not that big, guys. Nothing is that far. You can't tell me you can't find one. So this is for all my UK audience, which are my next biggest demographic behind Americans. They're there. It's harder to find them in America because everything's more spaced out and there may not be one in your town or city. Right? But the UK, there's a ton of strength gyms. I saw them all over the place when I was powerlifting there. They're everywhere. You're just not looking. And I mean, I see them in other countries too, where I have clients in Australia and things. Just the Australian ones, Australian strength gyms that have their problems. The ones I'm seeing there don't have reverse hypers and chains and all that stuff. They just have a bunch of calibrated plates, so they count it as a strength gym. There's a lot of that. Have one specialty bar. All right, guys, but enough ranting about that. So good workout. Very happy with everything today. So I hope it has been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.